listeners, thank you for joining us. I'm Joy.
And I'm Laura.
And this is The Witches of Letters, a supernatural rewatch podcast.
Buckle up as we dive into Season 2, Episode 15, Tall Tales.
I love this episode so much.
Me too, but before we start, we have to say Happy Christmas to everyone, because...
No, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say Merry Christmas, because I'm American.
I say both, but...
American.
American.
That was such a Jared Jensen dad joke. that I just pulled and I just snorted. Amazing.
Yeah, this episode's
Great.
coming out on Christmas Eve, so it'll be Christmas tomorrow. And we will also have a Christmas bonus episode out tomorrow as well.
Yes, so Merry Christmas, Merry Yule, Happy Holidays. You know, we hope everybody's having just the best time, that none of your relatives are obnoxious, that no one talks about politics in an angry way, and that no yams are thrown. Good luck to everyone. Good luck to the dogs that will definitely be fed random side dishes under the tables, you know. Good luck to the parents with small children who at some point will become overstimulated probably and possibly be a lot. But they'll be very cute also, so you've got the exchange, you know. Just good luck to us all. I hope we all have a blast.
Yeah. And if you do need a break from any relatives that are talking about politics, you can just take yourself off and listen to our bonus episode.
Yeah, you can. You can go and hide in a bathroom somewhere with your headphones in.
Yeah,
and try
exactly.
not to laugh too loud. Because I think it's going to be really entertaining, not going to lie. Like, I'm proud of what I think we're about to pull together. So, yeah, I do recommend that. I think that'll be a nice little relief.
But yeah, so the episode, I loved this episode. It was so funny. I was laughing the whole time, like out loud.
It's so good, right? It's so good. So the Trickster is one of my favorite characters. It's so hard.
Yeah.
Like, the people who've seen the whole show before will understand that I have so much stuff that I want to say about this character, but I cannot because it's spoilers. Because he is a reoccurring character, and he's gonna keep like popping up from time to time. It's always hilarious. It's always really entertaining. It's a lot of the highest rated like fan favorite episodes he's in, which is really fun. Because obviously Richard Speight Jr. also directs some of the episodes as well. So I just think that it's epic and cool, and it's really fun. I really enjoyed it. I couldn't remember which one this was, but the title, I was like, I know I love this episode. Like, I don't remember exactly what it's about, but I know that I love it. And I remember that it had to do with like a certain amount of storytelling, which it does. Because he gets revenge, I guess, his justice, the karmic payback through the narrative of different stories that are sort of like appropriate to its poetic justice. Like Dean calls it like poetic justice, and he's right. So I really, really like this one. And I was so excited because I was like, Laura finally gets to see Richard Speight Jr. in a context that isn't like him at a convention or on Then and Now.
Yeah. I did like it, and I think he's funny. My favourite bits, though, were just when Sam and Dean were just like at each other's throats, and when they're describing to Bobby what's going on, and their exaggerated versions from their point of view. It's just so funny.
It is so funny. Like, those are definitely fan favorite moments. So, like, the blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
like,
I've seen that bit before.
Reels so much. Like, there's so many sections from this episode that are just like memes, and I understand why, because it is so unbelievably funny. It's a really entertaining episode.
I'd seen 2 bits already. It's the bit where that bit, the blah 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 bit, and the bit where they wrestle on the bed.
Yeah. That one's so funny. So that, because we have that in one of our reels, like our bloopers reel, where they just fall off the bed in that take. And it is hilarious. That is one of my favorite bloopers, hands down. I love it so much.
Yeah. My other thing I had to say just at the top was that I love Bobby. And he's
Bobby is awesome.
He's so much like just being like a dad to them in this episode.
He's so wholesome. He's so
they're just arguing
wholesome.
like well, siblings, and
Yeah.
Bobby's like, "But then what happened? What actually happened?"
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I refer to him as Daddy Bobby more than a couple of times in my notes.
Uh,
'Cause it's like, in Jurassic Park where Alan Grant becomes like a dad to the kids. And so like some people nickname him Daddy Grant for various reasons. All valid, can I just say. But like Bobby is definitely their pseudo dad and it's just so wholesome. Like it just gives me so much serotonin. I love it when I love it when he turns up. We haven't gotten a lot of what I'm waiting for is like when he's in more later, the more that we get like idiots. Because idiots is so iconic, especially when he's telling them off for being idiots, literally.
I've
I
heard that reference, but I haven't heard him say it yet.
Yeah, he hasn't said it yet.
He's like the dad they should have had,
Yeah, I agree.
because
And
John's shit.
it's
Hot, but shit.
he's shit hot.
Shit hot.
Right. So I have decided that since now you're officially like a Sam girl and I'm a Dean girl, and things have kind of rolled in the way that I was expecting them to, I've decided that I have now a thirst trap point system because since Sam is your
Wait, what?
favorite, but let me get to the end of it first.
Okay.
Sa-
I
Since
do like
Sam
both
is
of them,
your
but I am a Sam
favorite.
girl, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I was right. Anyway, hair flip. For those of you who are just listening and couldn't see it, hair flip. Okay. Um, so basically, every time I think that Sam is fit, I've given you 5 points. And then
Giving
at
me
the
5.
end,
Wait, what?
yeah.
Sorry, I'll stop interrupting.
No, because I just thought it would be funny and entertaining to have like a little bit of a point system because now that we've divvied ourselves up into Sam and Dean fans, um, but we usually have thirst traps from both of them because, like, we can acknowledge that both of them are really hot, right? So I
Yeah.
decided that for this episode, I was going to start giving you 5 points for every time that I perceived it to be a Sam thirst trap, and I thought that would be hilarious for multiple reasons, but especially if I pick up on stuff and you're like, "Oh yeah, that would be so funny." So that's something that's happening. I've instigated a new thirst trap point system for Sam.
Okay. I still don't think I fully understand it, but I'm sure I'll get it when you do it.
You'll learn as we play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to do that with
Um,
board games as well.
Me too. Me too. So Crawford Hall is actually a real like hall in several different universities. That's my fun fact. I have
Ah.
2 fun facts for the preamble. So the first one is that Crawford Hall exists in like so many different universities. So I looked it up and I had to narrow down which Crawford Hall they were talking about by figuring out which one was haunted as fuck. And I figured it out. So there's Crawford Hall, which is in Irvine in California, Crawford Hall at the University of Pittsburgh, and then a Crawford Hall at the residence dormitory in Ohio State University housing. And then there's also the Crawford Hall at the University of Mysore, which I have no idea where that is. Um, but there's loads of them. And the Crawford Hall that this one is supposed to be. So I figured out where the episode is set because they never ever tell us where it's supposed to be. But I'm sure that they're in Ohio in this episode. Number one, because of the penchant for like the Midwest. And number two, because Ohio State University is insanely haunted.
Ah, that makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think I didn't write down where they were either.
Yeah. So that's the first one. So then when we get into the Easter egg, my Easter egg is literally like I found a story that matches the the dead co-ed story, like so close. There's so many of them. So I'm just gonna read you some freaky uh like campus ghost stories and tell you why I think they've chosen that place because there's some
Cool.
really weird stuff that's happened on these university campuses. Like they are haunted AF. So we can decide whether or not we're going to add that to the road trip. And then the other fun fact that I had for you is that the purple nurple on Urban Dictionary, this is what like they have like the other definition too. But then they go on to say an alcoholic beverage featured in Supernatural. A purple nurple is a type of alcoholic cocktail drink that is made by putting coconut rum, triple sec, blue curacao, cranberry juice, and ice in a cocktail shaker. The ingredients are shaken up and strained into a glass. Dean, I don't know, man. I think they're called purple nurples. And that
Not
was
gonna lie, it
posted
sounds quite
by.
nice.
They're like so strong. They're
Yeah,
so strong. Like they are a cocktail in something that is basically a shot glass size. It's like a large, like an extra large shot glass. And I think I worked it out to be something like just under 6 shots.
yeah.
And then you also have cranberry juice. And one of the things that they taught me when I was a bartender is like anytime you're giving someone like a cocktail and it has a fruit juice in it, it will get straight into your bloodstream because of the way your body
Because the
processes like
sugar.
alcohols and sugars together. Yeah.
Mm,
So they will get you wasted so fast. So the way that Dean is like an absolute mess in the episode seems kind of realistic and also hilarious. But I just
yeah,
thought it was really epic that on Urban Dictionary there's a like their purple nurple reference is a supernatural reference.
that's fun.
Yeah, that made me laugh. I love that.
Should I do the synopsis?
Yes.
So this is season 2, episode 15, Tall Tales. The original air date for this episode was February 15th, 2007. Sam and Dean investigate a series of strange happenings on a college campus. Firstly, a professor dies after falling from a window, and they hear rumours of a ghost haunting the building, who they think must have pushed him out. Then there's an alien abduction, where the victim says the alien asked him to slow dance. Then there's a man who has been torn to pieces by an alligator in a sewer. Also, throughout the investigation, Sam and Dean have been at each other's throats because Sam thinks Dean has stolen his laptop and Dean thinks Sam has messed with his car. After calling Bobby in to help them figure out what's going on, they realise it must be a trickster who is doing these things, and the janitor from the building must be the trickster as he's the only person who's been around for all of it. They find and kill the trickster, but at the end of the episode, we realise this was a fake trickster and the real one is still alive.
You can't trick the trickster.
No.
You can't outfox the fox. Um what what were your first thoughts when you saw the opening of this episode?
Oh, I thought it was going to be fun because it was all the prank stuff, wasn't it?
Yep. Yep. Like I feel like it definitely starts really strong because the in the teaser, all of the teaser clips are prank wars. And there's lots of like the repetition of jerk and bitch, which makes me happy, obviously. And then the opening scene is the woman in white type situation. Like I wrote down Professor Guy, Snow, ooh, a woman in white. I predict imminent carnage. And I wasn't wrong. I wasn't wrong.
No, I was just like, oh no, he's a creep because he was
Yep.
checking her out.
Yep.
But then when
I
she started talking, I decided I didn't trust either of them.
did you know that she was dead from the get because I did, and I'll tell you how I knew.
Well, I don't think to start with, but I thought maybe she probably was just because she was pale and wearing white.
No. So what tipped me off was the fact that it was the dead of winter and she was dressed like it was like spring or summer. So I was like, she's dead.
Ah,
Also, she's
yeah.
wearing white, so she's a woman in white. So I was like, she's dead because she's dressed for the
Although
wrong season.
I have to say, when I was at university, I used to do that as well. Like it would be winter, and I'd be like, but I don't want to wear a coat because it's going to mess up my outfit.
Yes, but the UK's winter is very different from like where this is supposed to be set. Like I feel like you would just die instantly. I will also say that like UK girls are committed to getting their legs and everything out in like the dead of winter. I don't know whether I should say respect or whether I should be concerned as a feminist. Like I have such mixed feelings about it. I do not know where I stand. Um because it's just like I don't want them to freeze, but I feel like they're gonna freeze and die. Uh like
Yeah.
I don't know. I salute you. Like anybody who can walk out wearing literally nothing in the middle of a snowstorm, I guess I salute you. Like you're tough. But yeah, that's how I knew she was dead because she was not dressed weather appropriately. And
No.
he was wearing this like big coat and a scarf, and it's like winter in Canada because we know they're filming in Canada secretly, really. So this actress must have been freezing her butt off to do this scene because she's wearing such a like very nothing dress. Like it's such light fabric. Like
Yeah.
I don't know how she concentrated and remembered her lines. I would have just been like, "Need to see you, Professor."
I did actually put in my notes that he really should have realised she was a ghost from her very pale skin and white dress, and also the urban legend was apparently very well known, but obviously not by him.
Yeah. I just think he was just like being led by not his brain. And it's
No.
very clear that that's the kind of person that he is as the events unfold, right?
What was
Because
it
he
that
asks,
Sam said to Dean in like, "Can you use your upstairs brain?"
yeah, that's the one. He has no upstairs brain. Um,
No.
So he asks if she has been waiting for him, and I actually ran the math on the age gap because one of the things that makes me the most uncomfortable, although I respect this one because they did it to make us uncomfortable on purpose, but one of the things that I hate in Hollywood the most is the age gap where it's perfectly air quotes acceptable for a fucking old as your father man to hit on you and you're a
Ugh.
young girl. Like it
Yeah.
disgusts me. I
Yeah.
find that so predatory. So the actor who plays the professor was born in 1958, and the actress who plays the dead co-ed, which kind of rhymes and is fun, was born in 1982. So like he is literally old enough to be her father, and it's like
Yeah.
a really visible age gap. It's so gross and creepy from the beginning, and then when you add onto it some of the lines and the things that he says to her, bleh.
Yeah, I
So
think I've got stuff about that later.
it upsets me. So she asks the professor if he recognizes her. And he says that they're big classes. And then he says, well, my office hours are Tuesday and Thursday mornings. But he's not very committed. Okay. His eyes are wandering. All right. This
Ew.
man who is old enough to be her father, his eyes are wandering. Um, keep that in mind too for the next like set of lines. And she says, "Oh, I was hoping I could see you now." And he says, "Well, since you asked so nicely," but he says that in such a creepy way. And then he takes her back to his office, and she's looking at his book, which can I just say, he's the morality professor. And the title of his
Huh.
book is Modern Morality, Examining Societal Views and Belief Systems.
Ugh. That makes it
I
even worse. I
can't.
didn't even notice that.
No, it makes it so bad. So, that's why it's like such great karma too, because we find out later on that he's married with kids, and this clearly is not the first co-ed affair that he's had. So
No. Classic.
he, yeah, he asked her how the Anscombe paper is coming, and she says, "I have a confession to make." And he's like, "Oh, what's that?" And she says, "I'm not really one of your students." And he says, "Really? Then why are you here?" And she looks at him in this shy but coy way and says, "Maybe I should just go." Like she's too shy to say. And then he says, "Wait, I get it. I understand how you're feeling and it's only natural. You're young and wide-eyed and I'm somewhat of a celebrity around here." And then he walks over
Bath.
and starts caressing her face. And Supernatural Wiki 10 out of 10 points because they've said in a lascivious and patronizing manner. And that is a
Yeah.
perfect description. Um,
Uh,
And then he says, "Don't get me wrong, you're a very beautiful girl." He says, "Girl, not woman. Let's just pay attention. But it would be wrong of me to take advantage of you. I just respect you too much." And that last line he
except that he
delivers.
does anyway.
No, but he also says that last line like he's being mildly sarcastic and
Yeah.
insulting to her.
Yeah.
And so he says that he would be taking advantage of her and that he clearly doesn't respect her. And then he basically makes out with her. But
Yeah.
the next part is so good, and I was like, "This is giving me What Lies Beneath vibes." Like, I love that movie. You got Harrison Ford and Michelle Pfeiffer, and it's such a good creepy film. It's an oldie but a goodie. Everyone should watch it. Um, and I felt so vindicated because he pulls back from making out with her, and her face is all dead. And to be fair, I said there weren't jump scares in my notes, but actually I think I lied because this was a little bit of a jump scare, but I was so here for it. And he's like, oh my God. And she says, what? Don't you like me anymore? And he backs away. And I'd written down, why did he open this window? Because it's the middle of winter, and when he walks into his office before they have this conversation, the first thing he does is opens this window, and I was like, someone is 100% going to like nosedive out
Yeah.
of this window in a minute. So the horror kicked off, and I was just like, oh, he's going through it, and I was so happy. And then we see an exterior shot, and we see the janitor, and I wrote down, enter the man, the myth, the legend, Richard Speight Jr. I was so hyped. I was just like, yes. Then the professor nosedives out, and he's very dead, and I was like, "Yep, that is definitely why the window was open. Most excellent." Um,
Yeah.
and those are my notes.
I didn't like how because he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm basically a celebrity," because
Mhm.
it's that whole like position of power thing, and I just went, "Oh
Yeah,
yeah, you're a hot shit, mate, and you really respect her. Kill him, Ghost Girl."
100% yes. Slay.
Yeah, he deserved it.
He 100% deserved it. Also, I'm not sure if I included the link for this in the end because I thought it was a little bit like extracurricular. But in my extracurricular research, I found that for one of the university ghost rumors, there was a guy who his surname was like Christie, and he was super rich, and he built an entire place called Christie Hall. And he had an affair with a mistress, and he kept her locked in a library, like a secret library
What?
room. She then killed herself to get away from him, and haunts the hall. But like everything came out in the end, so it got
That's not a
revealed.
mistress. That's a hostage.
Yeah, that is a hostage. Mistress is definitely the wrong term. I think the article was trying to use it to show that he was married. Like they were trying to drop the bombshell
Yeah.
that like he was having an extramarital affair. Um and I don't know if they were trying to say that it began in a normal voluntary way, but then he kept her captive. I have no idea. So either way, a girl who's a student ends up dying on a campus and then haunts the campus forever. And I thought this, like, so
Yeah.
we know that he's married and he's in a position of power and surrounded by all these books. And I thought that was a little bit of like an allusion to that ghost story. So I
Yeah.
think that because they even say in the story that he's married and he was having an affair with a student, and then she jumped out of a window or killed herself because she was so upset that he broke off their affair. So, like, I think we're supposed to believe that they were having an affair, he broke up with her, and then she killed herself. And that's why she says, don't you recognize me, Professor?
Ah. Yeah. Well, he
So he's
obviously
like
didn't. Arsehole.
even worse. Yeah, he's just even worse. He's so gross.
Yeah.
Um,
He
and then
deserved
I
to
love
get
that
thrown through a
shot.
window.
He did. I love that shot. You have the trickster just standing there, like I'm not cleaning that up. That's disgusting. Um, with this kind of like neutral face, and that's like the first clue that the janitor is not normal. Because a normal person's reaction to somebody falling out of a window would be like horror. He's just like mildly satisfied.
Yeah. Like he knew it was about to happen.
Yep.
So then it's 1 week later and we're at King's Lair Hotel. This also, just sidebar, this hotel was like more like an apartment because it
It's
had like a
so
whole
weird.
kitchen.
Yeah, it had
Yeah.
an entire kitchenette. And like
It was also
it was
disgusting. It was like gross.
I had such mixed feelings about it. So like part of it looked like it was a 2-star motel, and then part of it looked decent. So one of my first notes is hotel my ass, that is a 2-star motel. But then the camera pans around and you see more of it. And there's like a part of it that's really nice that looks like it is a hotel. And then there's a part of it that just looks like a trash apartment somewhere
Yeah.
in like a terrible area where you can't afford to get rid of the cockroaches. Like it's just bleh,
I know
bleh.
you can get hotels that are like self-contained. No, what's it called? Where you
Where there's
what's it
self
called? When you have to
catering.
like, yeah, that's the one.
Hmm.
Yeah, like self-catering hotels. But yeah. So anyway, Sam and Dean are annoyed with each other. This is the start of their little
Mhm.
their,
Mhm.
their pranks, their arguments. It's funny. Dean is eating really noisily on the bed, and Sam tells him off.
What was
Dean
he
asks,
eating? Was it like
I thought it was
cheese
like,
fries?
yeah, I thought it was like, chips, fries. Yeah.
At first I thought it was like chicken, and then he just ate the whole
That's what I
thing, and I
thought,
went, "Oh my
yeah.
god, what the hell?"
I thought it was
And then I
wings,
was
and
like,
then he picked them up, and I was like, no, they're fries.
"Yeah, I think he must have had like cheesy curly fries." I wrote, "Dean is a glutton, and I like it."
um, Dean asks Sam how the research is going, and Sam slams his book and says, it's slow. And then he says it would be faster if he had his computer. So we know that they're having an argument about, they're annoyed with each other.
Oh, yes, and to make it even better, Dean is eating his disgusting greasy food on Sam's bed.
Sam's bed instead of his, yeah.
Yeah.
um, they're just being like such brothers, like, well, just siblings, because me and my brother would be like this as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah,
Um,
same.
and then yeah, so he says it'd be faster if he had his computer. Dean just smiles and nods at him, and we get the impression they're fighting, which I've already said. Um, Sam then asks Dean to turn the music down, and he like nods and goes to do it, but then he turns it up really loud. I've definitely done that to my brother before.
Yep.
Um, Sam glares at him and tells him he should just go somewhere, and Dean says he'd love to, but his car is screwed to hell.
Yep.
And Sam says he had nothing to do with that. And then that argument gets interrupted by someone knocking at the door, and Sam goes to answer it, and it's Bobby. And I wrote, "Yay, Bobby!" And this is where I wrote, "This hotel is a shithole. The walls are all brown and cracked, and they've got pizza boxes and stuff all over the kitchen. It's rare."
That's 100% Dean.
I had a fun fact about the pizza boxes actually.
Yep.
So when Sam and Dean are bickering in the hotel room, this is Ryan DB, and Bobby knocks at the door, Sam goes to answer it, and you see a pile of pizza boxes atop the fridge. Instead of the typical 555 phone numbers used in shows and movies, you see the boxes say on their sides, Tasty Pie Pizza 604 520 3232. Google reveals that this was the number of an actual pizza restaurant located at 81 6th Street, New Westminster, BC. That's British Columbia, isn't it?
Mhm.
It changed names a couple of times. It was Ocean Pizza, and then it was Hot Bite Pizza, and now in 2023, this was written, a noodle place called Red Beef Noodle Express. So they're like it's a real restaurant's number. I
Yeah.
wonder if they had loads of people calling it.
Yeah. Should we add it to the road trip and go and get noodles?
Yeah, whatever it is at that time.
Add it to the road trip. I have written down here before we move along. Sam does that hot jaw tick when he's angry. 5 points to Laura. See?
I didn't
It's
write any of
fun.
these down. We should go back to the start and do this, because I'm sure you have actually given Sam more points. Well, maybe not more. A lot though.
Maybe. I guess we'll find out as we go on.
Wait, do you get points, or does Dean get points if I say that he's hot?
Yeah, I should get 5 points when you think Dean's hot.
Okay. Yeah, so Bobby's turned up. Sam says thanks for coming. So they've like obviously called him there for help. They say they wanted to talk to him about a job they're working, but they weren't sure he'd believe them. Bobby tells them to tell him what's been happening. Sam then tells him about the professor that we saw in the opening scene and his death. He says the campus has a legend that is haunted. So they investigated by pretending to be reporters from a local paper. Yeah, so there's lots of back and forth in this episode, which gets a bit
Yeah.
confusing. It's not confusing when you watch it, but it might be when I'm trying to explain it. So then we cut to a bar where they're talking to some college kids, and they are Curtis and Jen. Jen tells him about the legend of Crawford Hall, which is that about 30 years ago, a girl was having an affair with a professor, and she jumped out of a window and killed herself when he broke up with her, which is what you were saying earlier.
Mm-hmm.
She says the room she jumped from was room 669. I don't get this bit, because she's basically saying it's almost 666. And it's like, well, any number that has two sixes in it is almost 666. I don't quite know what she's getting at.
Okay, what she means is there's an American paranoia about 666 because of the 80s satanic panic. So there would be like rumors that things like 669, the 9 was secretly flipped over, so it's really room 666, but it just been flipped to look like a 9. So
Yeah.
she was saying that secretly it was room 666. That's the implication.
Oh. Well, yeah, I thought I got that, but I was like, but like lots of things are nearly 666, but it's not 666.
Okay.
um
Laura's being literal. She's literal Laura.
But she says that the legend is that the girl now haunts the building, and if anyone sees her, they don't end up living to tell the tale. And then Curtis says, well, if no one lives to tell the tale, how does the tale get told? And I thought that was
Yeah, she
funny
just
because
goes,
it's
Curtis,
actually
shut
true.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true though.
Yeah. It is.
So Sam then goes over to find Dean, who is drinking shots called Purple Nurples. So we've already talked about Purple Nurples.
Mhm.
Um, oh, I did have a fun fact here actually about the bar. Apparently there was a competition on the CW, and the band Junk Food won the competition on MySpace to have their song Next to You included in the show, and it plays while Sam and Dean are in the bar. I had to include that because MySpace.
MySpace. For anyone who's listening who doesn't know, since we do have some younger listeners, um, you need to picture like the most archaic version of like Facebook and Instagram that you can think of, and that's basically MySpace.
MySpace was amazing, and it's difficult to
Mhm.
describe, except that we basically all learned to code.
Yeah. But it was social media before social media was social media. It was like the OG.
Oh, yeah, and we also had top friends on the page, and if you bumped anyone, you'd then have arguments at school about it because you'd be like, "Why am I not in your top friends anymore?"
Yeah. Ah, good times. Good times.
Yeah.
Um, I wouldn't actually be surprised if somebody rolls out a new version of something like MySpace.
Yeah, and it's just gonna be like all us millennials going back to our teenage years. So Sam tells Dean they should go and check out the professor's office, but Dean is already wasted and has been chatting up a girl called Starla.
Oh god. Sam is so done in this scene and Dean is so sloppy. So Sam says to Dean, he says, Dean, what are you drinking? And Dean goes, bleh, like belches in his face. And then he goes, I don't know, man. I think they're called purple nurples. And Sam says, okay, well, listen, I think maybe we should go check out the professor's office. And Dean says, oh, no, 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 no. I can't go right now. I've got some feisty little wildcat on the hook and I'm about to reel her in. I'll introduce you. And then you pan up and she's wearing fishnets and a mini skirt and this like she's sloppy. Like she is drunk, okay? Like she swallows her own puke at one point. Like she is not
Yeah.
okay. All right. And Sam looks at Dean and goes, Dean. He's like, this is not okay. Um, and Dean just goes, Starla, hey, this is my shuttle co-pilot, Major Tom, Starla. Because he loves his music references. So we got a little bit of Bowie, okay? And Starla has her arm around Dean and puts her hand up to Sam and just goes, Enchanté. And Sam just says hi and ignores her because like she is shit faced. And he's looking at her like, get this messy girl away from me, please. And then this is when she basically vomits and swallows it. And then she smiles. And Sam is like, this just feels sketchy. And Starla goes, sorry, just trying to keep my liquor down. And Dean says, yeah, good job. And then he whispers to Sam, hey, good news, she's got a sister. And then he goes back to Starla and they're like looking at each other really suggestively, like, oh, we can hook up and then Sam and your sister can hook up. And then we cut back to the present day and Dean's like, whoa, hold on a minute. And Sam goes, what? And Dean goes, come on, dude, that's not how it happened. And Sam's like, no, you never drank a purple nurple. And Dean's like, yeah, maybe that, but I don't say things like feisty little wildcat. And her name wasn't Starla. And Sam says, then what was it? And Dean's like, I don't know. And then he looks to Bobby But he takes up the story and he says, but she was a classy chick. She was a grad student, anthropology and folklore. We were talking about local ghost stories. And then from Dean's point of view, we get the whole thing again, but it's totally different.
It's like
And
the
mine
complete
are,
opposite.
it's
It's
the
so
complete
exaggerated.
opposite. It's so exaggerated. It's amazing. And I was like, Dean is James Bond / Batman in his head, and I can't deal with this at all. Okay. So the transcript says that the feel of this scene is very different. We pan up the girl's body again, but this time she's in black heels and a sleek black cocktail dress. She and Dean each hold a purple nurple and toast with them. And she says, here's to, and he says, here's to us. And she says, my God, you are attractive. And Dean says, thanks, but no time for that now. You need to tell me about this urban legend, please. Lives are at stake. And she says, sorry, I can't even concentrate. It's like staring into the sun. And then she reaches up and kisses him. And Sam comes up behind them with this, like, he looks so, it's weird. It's like an annoyed, but a weird expression. It's very camp. Okay. This is the campest we ever see him, ever. And he's being super prissy. And Supernatural Wiki says, exaggerated prissy tone, extreme bitch face.
Extreme bitch
Bitch
face.
is back. Extreme. And he says, Dean, what do you think you're doing? And Dean's all smooth and casual and says, Sam, please, if you wouldn't mind, give me 5 minutes here. And Sam says, Dean, this is a very serious investigation. We don't have any time for any of your blah, 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 blah. And Dean just makes out with this girl, and Sam is blah, 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 blah. Like the whole time, that's all he's doing. And Sam goes, blah, right before they cut to this scene. And
It
Sam,
like freezes, doesn't it?
Sam is so angry, and he's like, right. And that's how it really happened. And Dean shrugs and he says, I don't sound like that, Dean. And Dean's like, that's what you sound like to me.
And Bobby's like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah. So Bobby is like, what's going on with you two? And Sam says, nothing. It's nothing. And Bobby's like, no, come on. You're bickering like an old married couple, which is true. And Dean walks over and says, no, see, old married couples can get divorced. Me and him were like a Siamese twins. And Sam like sighs, like the longest suffering sigh, and then he corrects him. He says it's conjoined twins. And then Dean says, see what I mean? Which like Sam's right though, but So Sam says, look, we've just been on the road for too long. Tight quarters, all that, don't worry about it. And Bobby's like, okay, but he's like, okay. He does not. He's like, something is amiss, okay?
Yeah.
So Sam says, so anyway, we figured it might be a haunting, so we went back to check the scene of the crime. And we get another flashback.
So the janitor lets them in as they're pretending to be electricians. They bring up the professor's death, and the janitor can't wait to gossip about it.
He is a gossipy queen.
Yeah. He's like, he wasn't alone. Oh, and this is another bit of Sam's exaggerated version of what happened, because Dean starts eating something, because he's always eating, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's stuffed so much food in his mouth, he looks like a hamster.
It's in our reels. Like that's part of the one that went into the food reels. But it's like 40 caramels. Like actual like toffee caramel type things.
Like,
and he's like, whoa,
in his cheeks.
Yeah. Like you see him sucking in his own drool when they're about to cut. Because there's so much food in his face, he can't physically close his mouth, and he's just like, it's crazy.
Yeah. And Sam asks if he knew the girl, and the janitor said no, but he was always bringing girls up there. And then he says that he got more ass than a toilet seat. I was like, lovely.
Yeah, charming.
Sam points out the building has only 4 stories and says, so there wouldn't be a room 669. And the janitor says no. And I just put, Dean still looking like a hamster and eating with his mouth open. Gross. So then back at the motel, Sam says there was no traces of EMF at the crime scene. Dean says that the room 669 stuff is a load of crap. and they should check out the history of the building to see if a girl died there. So Sam gets his computer out to presumably do some research and then asks if Dean had used it. And Dean's like, no. And Sam's like, oh, really? Because it's frozen now on bustyasianbeauties.com. And Dean just makes a funny face and walks off. Doesn't answer him. I had a note here on from IMDb. It says Sam's laptop gets frozen on bustyasianbeauties.com, which links directly to the official Warner Brothers website. I
Yeah.
didn't check this out because I didn't want to search for that.
No, probably for the best.
This also, I don't know if it still does or not. This also marks the first mention of Busty Asian Beauties, which became a recurring joke in future episodes as a supposed interest of Dean's.
You guys need to hear my blow-by-blow description of this, because he says, dude, were you on my computer? And Dean comes back out of the bathroom and he looks all confused and Dean goes, no. And he looks kind of confused. And then Sam says, oh, really? Because it's frozen now. And then he says, on Busty Asian Beauties. And then Dean looks at him and his face goes, eek. Like, he makes like a, oh shit, I've been caught face. And then he makes a face that says, well, you understand, all casual. And then he just leaves. He just goes to walk away. And Sam's screaming, Dean, just don't touch my stuff anymore, okay? And he's so hard done by, and it's so funny.
Yeah. I just felt that it was a very sibling argument. He's like, don't touch my stuff.
Yeah, it's 100% the most sibling thing that you could possibly say. Oh, God. So then we cut back and Bobby's talking to them. We like go back to the present moment for a minute. And Bobby says, but did you dig up anything about the building or the suicidal co-ed? And Sam says, no, the history is clean. And Bobby says, then it's not a haunting. And Dean says, maybe not. Tell you the truth, we weren't really sure. And Bobby says, what do you mean you're not sure? And Sam says, well, it's weird. And he looks uncomfortable. And Bobby says, what's weird? And Dean says, this next part, we didn't see it happen ourselves exactly, but it's pretty freaking weird, even for us. And then we have flashback number 3.
And this was the same guy from the bar, wasn't it? This is Curtis again, I think.
Yep, it is Curtis, yep.
So he's like a frat bro. He's walking past the building and he hears a whooshing sound. And this keeps happening until he gets really freaked out. And then a bright light shines down on him. He starts running away and the light follows. And it's a beam from a UFO that starts to beam him up and he's screaming. And then Bobby's like, aliens? And he's like, yeah. Bobby's like, aliens? Because he doesn't believe them. And he's like, yeah. And Bobby says, even if they are real, they're sure as hell not coming to Earth and swiping people. And I wrote in my notes, just wait till 2024, Bobby. Your mind will be blown. Because it's very topical right now.
So I wrote down aliens question mark at the beginning because it was giving me the X-Files vibe, right?
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I was like, I suspect aliens. And then I wrote, yes, 10 out of 10, I got it. And then I wrote, this boy just got snatched like a cow. Because you always see like the cow being pulled up in the beam of light whenever people are talking about like UFO stuff and all that weirdness. And that made me laugh. And then I wrote Bobby, we were on the same page because Bobby's like criticisms are also my criticisms. And then I wrote, I am a grumpy redneck.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah, it was really funny.
Yeah. But yeah, I did think it was topical though. Bobby says he's never found evidence of alien abductions. And Sam says they know, but they thought they would still talk to the guy. Then we cut back to the bar and they're talking to Curtis about what happened. And Curtis says they won't believe him. And then he says he doesn't want it in the papers. And Dean says, off the record then. Oh, because they're still being reporters, aren't they?
Yeah.
We then get Curtis telling the story of what happened with little flashbacks cut in. And he says that they did tests on him and probed him. And I wrote, Sam smirks at this. I would expect that reaction from Dean, but not you, Sam.
Betrayal.
And then he says that they probed him again and again. I think he says it so many times, like again and again and again.
Yeah, he says it so many times. It's like,
and
we
then
get,
afterwards,
we get the idea.
Dean just goes, yikes. But it's so deadpan, it's funny.
Yeah.
And then he tells them that the alien made him slow dance.
Yeah. And then there's this scene, and they're dancing, and it's playing Lady in Red. And it cuts back to Bobby, and Bobby's like, "You guys are exaggerating again, huh?" And Sam goes, "No, no." And Bobby says, "And then this frat boy's just nuts."
Right, I had a fun fact here, which I worked out myself. This didn't come from IMDb. This was me. So I was looking up one of the actors, and I noticed that the actress who played Tyler from Playthings was on the cast for this episode, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"What?" And then I looked up who she played, and she is the alien. She's the slow dancing alien, that little girl from Playthings.
No way, that's wild. How do you pitch that part? Like, we're looking for a child to dress as an alien and slow dance with a frat boy to Lady in Red.
I like to think that they just asked her when they were filming Playthings, like, "Can you just
Do
do
you
another
want to
scene?"
come back? You're the right height. You can wear a costume. It'll be fun. Wow. So Bobby says that the frat boy's nuts, and Dean says we're not so sure. And then it flashes back to the campus again, and it's daytime, and Sam and Dean are standing over this perfect scorch mark on the ground. And Sam's like, "I'm telling you, Dean, this was made by some kind of jet engine." And Dean says, "You mean some kind of saucer-shaped jet engine?" And he's just looking at his brother like, "You have lost your ever-loving mind." And Sam says, "What else could it be?" And Dean says, "What the hell?" And Sam says, "I don't know. Seriously, dude, what the hell?" And Sam says, "I don't know." And then they're talking and they're saying that there's the haunting and now there's this and there has to be some kind of connection. And Dean says, "You mean between the angry spirit and the sexed up ET? What could the connection possibly be?" And then Dean in a voiceover says, "But what could we do?" So we just kept digging. So then we go back to Dean's point of view in the flashback, and they're talking with another college student, and Sam's saying, "This is the funniest scene in Supernatural. I
This
swear
was
to you.
so funny.
This is the funniest scene in Supernatural." So Sam's saying, "So you and this guy, Curtis, you were in the same house?" And the student says, "Yeah." And Dean says, "You heard what happened to him, right?" And the student says, "Yeah." He says it was the aliens, but whatever. And Sam is like so over the top concerned. He says, "Look, man, I know this all has to be so hard." And the student's like, not so much." And Sam says, "But I want you to know, I'm here for you. You brave little soldier. I acknowledge your pain. Come here." And then he grabs him to hug him. And then he says, "You're too precious for this world." And then the flashback freezes. And he goes back to the hotel. And Sam shouting, "I never said that." And Dean says, "You're always saying pansy stuff like that." He goes back to the flashback. And the student's like, "Well, yeah, thanks." And Sam finally lets him go. Like, this is one of those really awkward moments where someone hugged you and you didn't want them to, and then it lasted for way too long.
Yeah.
And then he says, "Thanks for the hug, but I'm okay, really. To tell you the truth, whatever happened to Curtis, he had it coming." And Dean says, "Why is that?" And the student says, "He's our pledge master. Put us through hell this semester and got off on it. So he knows how we feel now." And Dean goes to Sam, "It's okay." Because Sam's making it's eyebrow acting. He's making this face like someone murdered a puppy in front of him. Like, he's just like, "Oh my god, I can't handle what I've just heard." It's so wild. Oh god, it's so funny. Okay.
I loved the brave little soldier bit. That was my favourite.
That is amazing. My favorite is "You're too precious for this world."
So then I'm getting a bit lost with all the flashbacks. We're back at the hotel, but this is still in the flashback. And Dean is saying that the connection must be that both the professor and Curtis were dicks. I went, well, he's got a point.
Yes, fact.
And this comes back later, which is funny as well.
Yeah.
Sam asks where his laptop is, and Dean continues to talk about the case, but Sam is distracted looking for his laptop. And then they have another sibling fight.
Yeah. So Sam says, "Okay, hilarious. Haha, where'd you hide it?" And Dean says, "What, your computer?" And Sam says, yeah, where'd you hide it? And Dean says, why would I take your computer? And Sam says, because no one else could have, Dean. We keep the door locked. We never let any maids in. And Dean's like, looks like you lost it, Poindexter. And Sam says, dude, you know something? I put up with a lot from you. And Dean says, what are you talking about? I'm a joy to be around. And Sam says, yeah, your dirty socks in the sink, your food in the fridge. And Dean goes, what's wrong with my food? And Sam says, it's not food anymore, Dean. It's Darwinism. And Dean just goes, I like it. Like all sulky and childlike. And Sam says, all I ask from you, the one thing, is that you don't mess with my stuff. And Dean's like, are you done? And Sam says, you know, how would you feel if I screwed with the Impala? And Dean looks at him and he says, it'd be the last thing you ever did. He's like, I will murder you and they will never find the body. And then that was hot. Not gonna lie, that was a thirst trap for me because there's something wrong with me. So I thought that was super hot.
Yeah. And then Bobby cuts in because he's being their dad and he's like, did you take his computer? And he says no, but it would serve him right. And Sam says he doesn't lose things. And Bobby's like, okay. Like, what actually happened next? Because he's sick of it. He's like, I just want to know what happened in the story.
Yeah.
Dean says there was another victim. And Sam says they didn't see this themselves either, but they put it together from the evidence. And he says that there was a research scientist guy, animal testing. And Dean says, yeah, you know, a dick, which fits the pattern.
Yeah, I love that line. That's a great line. Yeah, it's such a good line.
And then we see the scientist walking out of the building and notices something in a drain. I thought it was a coin to start with, but in the transcript it says it's a watch.
Yeah, it's like a Rolex.
It says it's a watch. He puts his hand in to try and get it. And I was thinking this was very like Pennywise from it in like a storm drain.
Yeah.
But we hear growling and then something bites his arm and then there's blood splatter everywhere and then we get a blackout.
We do.
We cut to the morgue and we see two torches shining through the window and then it's Sam and Dean, they break in.
Okay, now I have a note that I need to read right from the beginning. Because what happens is they have their flashlights and there's a window that they go through. And it's like a latch window that they have to slide through from inside. And they're talking about the cause of death during this scene. So I wrote, once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. That they obviously had to build a window that was big enough that Jared could fit through it because he's 6'4". He can't get through like a normal window like that. So when you look at the window, if you actually look at it, it's absolutely huge. Like it's nonsensically big. And it's so that Jared could get his tall ass through the window to do this scene. Because you see Jensen coming behind him, like Sam goes through and it's slightly awkward, but he gets through, and then Dean just slides through. Okay, and it's so easy for him. Oh man, he's so tall. It's great.
Yeah, so there isn't a cause of death. That's why they're going to check for themselves, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they find the remains, or what's left of them anyway. And Dean's like, that's nasty. And Sam is looking at the body and he finds a belly scale, which prompts him to say that there must be an alligator down the drain. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I from Florida have never seen or heard of this, and it's the wrong color. It was like black, or it was weird. And I was just like, yeah. Okay, sure. All right. Roll eyes.
And then Sam says they should call Bobby as he might have experienced something like this before. And Dean's like, oh yeah, I'm sure. Just your typical haunted campus, alien abduction, alligator in a sewer gig.
Yeah.
I love the sarcasm so much.
That's such a good line. That's such a good line.
I just love it when he's sarcastic.
So much. It's the best. There's nothing nothing hits quite like Dean's sarcasm.
Yeah.
It's just in a league of its own. That's amazing. So Dean says that line that is absolutely hilarious, like what Laura just said. And then there's a flashback and Sam's in the present moment, right? And he's talking to Bobby and he says, we decided to search the sewer anyway. So we split up, each taking one end of the campus. And Bobby says, did you find anything? And Dean says, yeah, I found something, just not in the sewer. And Dean is like raging, guys. So we cut back to the campus and it's nighttime. And Dean comes out of the sewer and enters the alleyway where the Impala's parked. And every single tire has been slashed and they are flat. And Dean goes, son of a bitch. Okay. And then he circles the car looking for clues and he finds a money clip on the ground and it's engraved with SW. And he goes, Sam.
Sam.
So then we go back into the hotel and it's the daytime and Sam is like innocently reading a book, minding his own business. And Dean comes storming in and he goes, You think this is funny? And Sam says, It depends what. And he goes, the car. Like he can't even get the sentence out. He's so angry. He has like a rage stutter. And Sam says, What about the car? And Dean says, You can't let the air out of the tires, you idiot. You're gonna bend the rims. And Sam says, Whoa, wait a minute. I didn't go near your car. And Dean says, Oh yeah? Huh? Then how'd I find this? And then he holds up the money clip and Sam's really confused and he starts searching his pockets. And then he says, Hey, give me back my money. And Dean says, Oh no. Consider it reparations for a emotional trauma. And I was like, emotional damage.
Yeah.
So Sam says, Yeah, very funny. Now give it back. And then he reaches for it and Dean goes, No. And he holds it out of his reach. Sam says, Dean, I have had it up to here with you, which is extra funny because Jared is so tall. Okay. it's so like this whole scene is hilarious. And Dean says, Yeah, right back at you. So Sam reaches for the money. Dean avoids him. Sam grabs him again, tackles him to the bed. Then they're scuffling and fighting like kids. And Dean's like, Come on, get off of me. And Sam's going, Give it back. And they are
Such
like
siblings.
ridiculous flailing. It is so funny. And then we cut back because Bobby interrupts them. And he says, Okay, I've heard enough.
He's their dad.
And Dean says you showed up about an hour after that. And Bobby says, I'm surprised at you two. I really am. Sam, first off, Dean did not steal your computer. And Sam goes, But I. And Bobby just holds up his hand, full dad mode, and it's just like silence. He says, Shh, shh, shh. And Dean, Sam did not touch your car. And Sam's looking at Dean and he goes, Yeah. They literally lost it.
They're like kids.
They're like children. It's so funny. And Bobby says, And if you two bothered to pull your heads out of your asses, it would have been pretty clear. And Dean's like, What? His mind is blown. He's so confused. And Bobby says, What you're dealing with? And Sam's like, And Dean's like, I got nothing. And Sam says, Me neither. And Bobby says, You got a trickster on your hands. And Dean snaps his fingers and says, That's what I thought. And Sam goes, No, you didn't. Bobby says, I gotta tell you, you guys were the biggest clue. And then Sam's like, What do you mean? And Bobby says, These things create chaos and mischief as easy as breathing. It's got you so turned around at each other's throats, you can't even think straight. And Sam says, The laptop. And Dean says, The tires. And Bobby says, It knows you're onto him and it's been playing you like fiddles. And Dean says, So what is it? What's it? Spirit, demon, what? And Bobby says, Well, more like demigods, really. There's Loki in Scandinavia. There's Anansi in West Africa. Dozens of them. They're immortal and they can create things out of thin air. Things as real as you and me. Make them vanish just as quick. And Dean says, You mean like an angry spirit or an alien or an alligator? And it's so funny. And Bobby says, The victims fit the MO too. Tricksters target the high and mighty, knock them down a peg, usually with a sense of humor, deadly pranks, things like that. And I will say that the lore is correct. Like, that is right. Like, a trickster's purpose is generally to shake up the order of things, to kind of tip things on their head and make chaos, but it's chaos that makes change, and usually it's somebody is due a comeuppance. So generally, even tricksters like Loki, who on the surface does a lot of bad things, is also capable of doing quite a lot of good too. So they're very double-edged swords. They're really fascinating characters. So like I said at the beginning, there's going to be links in my show notes. If that's something that you want to explore, I highly recommend checking those links out and just kind of digging in.
I'm going to read that because I don't know a lot about trickster spirits, I don't think, or trickster gods.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's really fascinating. So we cut back to the janitor's house at night, and he's flipping through a copy of Weekly World News. And the headline is, An alien made me its love slave. And he says, Oh, that's a good one. And then he flips another page and it says, Alligator in the sewer. And then another one says, Chainsaw's family, body parts strewn over grisly scene. And that was like a little bit of foreshadowing. So we see him, the janitor, aka the trickster, in this tacky swingers pad. There's a velvet armchair, wildly patterned walls, like huge mirrors everywhere so that you can see yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like it's 70s porn is what it is, if we're
Yeah.
honest. He's wearing this white tank top and red satin boxers, and he whistles
Ugh.
to a small, energetic dog who comes bounding towards him. He says, "Come here." And I was like, he has wishbone. And then he says, "Could you eat?" "I could eat. Come on." And I thought it was really cute because he clearly loves and spoils the dog. And then he says something's missing, and two scantily clad women appear behind him. We have a blonde and a brunette, and he takes whipped cream on one finger and holds it out, and the brunette on his left licks it up. He says, "That's better." And I was like, oh no. Like,
Yeah.
is
Same.
it part of his persona as a character? Yes. But also, it's just so exploitative. And it's just like, this is the best example of 2000s TV that I could probably think of.
Yeah. My only note was just the silk boxes. Ew.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. So we cut back to Crawford Hall during the day. And this is where I'm going to put my Easter egg because my Easter egg takes place in the real Crawford Hall. So
Okay.
this is from Ohio University. And it says, legend also says that Crawford Hall has also had ghostly experiences after the death of a young woman named Laura. Looks at Laura.
Yay!
I was really expecting her to be like, oh, but no, she was happy. Okay. Who fell from a fourth floor window. Sound familiar?
Uh-oh.
There we go. There it is. Lights turn on and off on their own, doors slam shut and open on their own, and the song Laura will not play on any musical device. Like she just won't, she doesn't want to hear her own name.
No.
Which makes me think, like in my storytelling brain, it makes me think that whatever bad guy, like whatever gross professor she may or may not have had an affair with, if this is similar to the other story, probably used that song as part of his wooing, and now she's just like, no,
Ugh.
I died to that song. So the article goes on to say that this campus, like this area, Crawford Hall, is so haunted that there's actually a YouTube on Ohio University's website that links to sci-fi's scariest places on Earth. So Crawford Hall was one of sci-fi's scariest places on Earth, and I thought that was really
Cool.
entertaining.
Mhm.
I have a bunch more stories from this university that's linked in my show notes if you want to read them, but we won't have time for today. So you guys just follow the link, and there's so many, and there's more in my actual notes as well, so you can just read it.
Okay. I want another story.
Okay. I literally just shut it. I'll get it back. Hang on. Okay. Ohio University is known for a lot of things. Being one of the top 10 biggest party schools, our crazy Halloween parties, and our top-rated journalism school. But what many people don't know is that Ohio University is one, if not the number one most haunted university in the United States. Ohio University was established in 1804, so it only makes sense possible ghosts could be lurking about at a school with such a rich history. So what makes Ohio University deserve this spooky reputation? A few years after Ohio University was established, a mental health hospital called the Athens Lunatic Asylum, now known as the Ridges, was built right by Ohio University in 1874 and was in operation until 1993. Athens was considered an ideal place for the patients, quiet and beautiful, but over time it became very overcrowded. It started to use inhumane practices like lobotomy, and many patients died while being admitted there. The Ridges is no longer a hospital, but is now used by the university as a museum and classrooms for art students. Blech. Bad vibes. Even though it is no longer occupied with patients, legend has it that they still haunt the halls. One legend stands out in particular, the legend of Margaret Schilling. She was a patient that went missing one day and was not found until a month later. When she was discovered, an outline of her body and hair stained the floor and was never able to be washed off. Legend has it that you can still see the stain to this day.
Oh, that's not very nice. I think I've heard of that
No.
before. Hmm.
Yeah. There are 2 or 3 cemeteries at different places at the Ridges. There's one cemetery that stands out in particular, the one located at the rear corner of the Ridges. It is the one most explored by people and students. Almost students aren't people. Almost all of the graves have only a number engraved on them, no name and no date. The only ones properly identified on their headstones are the ones that relatives of the patients have paid for. Most haunted legends arise from the circle of graves without a headstone in the middle. Legends say that this is where witches would perform seances, but Ohio University's official claim is that it was caused by vandalism. People who have been brave enough to visit it at night have reported hearing screams and seeing strange lights.
Oh, aliens.
Mm-hmm. Aliens, exactly. Then she goes on to talk about Wilson Hall. Wilson Hall is considered the most haunted on campus. There is supposedly a map where it's said to be 5 cemeteries that actually form a pentagram with Wilson Hall located in the center. A pentagram, she says, is a 5-pointed star that is a religious symbol and is either interpreted as a safe place or a place of evil. Ooh. In the 1970s, in room 428, a young man mysteriously died. Afterwards, every person who lived in the room reported hearing strange noises or seeing objects move. Similar occurrences kept happening until a young woman moved into the room and violently died after practicing occult in the room. It literally says after practicing occult.
What? Practicing a cult. Does it make sense?
Practicing occult death.
Also,
Oh my God.
I have to say, you always see things where it's like, oh, look, it makes a pentagram on a map. It's like you can literally make a pentagram out of anything because
Anything.
you can
You could
just
just choose
join
a
anything
random
up and
5
make it
points.
into a
Yeah.
exactly. It
Yeah.
always makes me laugh.
That makes me laugh so hard. And then she goes on to say that Jefferson Hall has a marble sound where it sounds like hundreds of marbles are being dropped on the top floor of the building, which is supposed to be
Oh,
empty, air
that would
quotes.
be creepy.
That is pretty spooky.
Yeah.
Washington Hall is rumored to have a basketball team haunt where people have confessed to hearing basketballs being bounced in the hallways when no one is there.
So it's either marbles or basketballs
The
being
ghosts are
bounced
playing
around.
games. The ghosts of students clearly are like, I'm gonna get in my phys ed, and also I'm gonna play marbles with my friends because it's the 1800s and that's what we do here.
Both of those would be creepy
Um,
though if it was like completely silent and you just heard like a
oh yeah,
basketball being bounced around or
uh,
marbles dropped above you.
yeah. No, if you're by yourself alone at night. Also, firstly, campuses are spooky when they're
Yeah,
totally isolated. So you're by
like a
yourself on
liminal space.
campus, exactly, and then you just hear, and you know there's nobody else there. You just hear a basketball bouncing in the
I'm
dark.
imagining like the squeaking of the shoes on the floor as well.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, thank you. No, thank you. So that was my Easter egg for this episode. Haunted
Oh, cool.
campuses.
Very good.
Thank you. Thank you.
So the next day, Sam and Dean have gone back to Crawford Hall, like we said, to speak to the janitor. And they're like walking up the stairs and he's basically just bragging about having lots of sex last night. And I was like, why would you say that
Which,
to strangers,
okay.
you creep?
Also, he made those girls with his imagination so that he
Yeah, they're not
basically
even
was
real.
just with himself. Like, he's just like, oh, I
Yeah.
had so much sex last night. It's like, yeah, bro.
But he's bragging about
Excuse
it, but it's
me,
like
buddy, with your hand. Effectively. Effectively.
he doesn't even know them. That's such a weird thing to say to someone you don't even know.
Yeah, he is a 70s porn star type of
Yeah.
character. Like, there's things about him that I really like and find really funny, and there's things about him that are just like, ugh, yeah.
He's a bit sleazy. Yeah, he's funny, but
He's sleazy. He's hilarious, but sleazy.
yeah. So yeah, he's showing them around. They're still pretending to be the electricians because that's how he knows them,
Uh-huh.
aren't they?
Yeah.
And Sam excuses himself, saying that he left something in the truck, but really he's trying to snoop around and find some evidence. And he finds the magazines in a locker.
Yeah,
And
I write
then
down Sam breaking and entering, 5 points to Laura.
yeah. Then a little bit later, so after Sam's found this, that it cuts to him and Dean outside. And Sam is saying that they need more evidence, but Dean's saying that he's the guy. and they're still arguing about it. But we know that with hindsight that they're baiting the trickster here who's watching them from the window.
Yeah, I wrote down, I feel like this is staged. Like, this is a staged fight.
Yeah. Yeah, they're just trying to make it out like they're still bickering, and like, cause so
Yeah.
he doesn't get suspicious or doesn't think that they're onto him. Sam says he's gonna go to the janitor's house to find some real evidence, and Dean is supposed to stay there and keep an eye on him. And then we cut to a little bit later, and it's nighttime now. Dean is outside the hall waiting for Sam, but he gets sick of waiting and goes in alone. He walks around for a bit, and he gets the stake out. I was like, "Have I missed something? How is it a stake?" Is that the law that about tricksters that you can kill them with a stake, like a vampire?
So there was a note on Supernatural Wiki where it's explained later on, although they don't state it explicitly in this episode, that the only way to kill a trickster is to stake them with a stake that's been dipped in the blood of one of their victims.
Oh, that's why yeah, they were dipped in something. They were huge
Yeah.
stakes though. You know, like in
They're
Buffy where they have
comedy
these like
stakes.
little these little stakes that they have on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And then in this it's like they're like a foot long
A piece of a log,
and
like
girthy.
firewood. Yeah, very girthy. Eyebrow wiggle.
So he gets sick of waiting, goes in, gets a stake out. He hears Barry White playing in the distance, and he follows the music and enters an auditorium where there are the two scantily clad girls on the bed in the middle of the stage and a disco ball above. And I just wrote on my initial watch through, I wrote, "This is clearly a trap, Dean."
Yeah,
And also, I had a fun
100%.
fact.
Oh, what is it?
Well, this one's a goof, and I had to go back and see if I noticed it, and I did, and it's funny. So it's a goof on IMDb. When Dean walks through the door of the auditorium, in the wide shot, a crew member can be seen in the control room dancing
No.
along to the music.
What?
I couldn't work out like who. I don't think it wasn't anyone I recognised, but yeah, they're like dancing to Barry White.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
good. So yeah, Dean goes down to the stage, and then the girls are like, "We've been waiting for you, Dean." And Dean says, "You guys aren't real." I was like, "Yeah, Dean, they're not."
Yeah.
So this is where the janitor says that he calls them a peace offering, and I'm like, "Oh, okay."
It's so uncomfortable. So uncomfortable. The brunette says, "Trust me, sugar, it's gonna feel real." And Dean laughs, but like uncomfortably. And the blonde says, "Come on, let us give you a massage." And Dean says, "What? You know, I'm a sucker for a happy ending. Really, I am. But I'm gonna have to pass." And I was like, "Eh."
Ugh.
And then the trickster says they're a peace offering. And then the camera scans over the boobs. Honestly, like it's just a close up of boobs. And it's just ugh.
Yeah.
And he says, "I know what you and your brother do. I've been around a while, run into your kind before." And Dean says, "Well, then you know that I can't just let you keep hurting people." And the trickster says, "Come on, those people got what was coming to them, hoisted by their own petards. But you and Sam, I like you. I do. So treat yourself, long as you want, just long enough for me to move on to the next town." And Dean says, "Yeah, I don't think I can let you do that." And the trickster says, "I don't want to hurt you, and you know that I can." And Dean says, "Look, man, I gotta tell you, I dig your style, all right? I mean, I do. I mean, whew." And then slow dancing alien, and I laughed so hard. And the
That
trickster
was
says one of my
funny.
personal favorites. Yeah,
They're
I was
both
like,
like laughing at it.
they're bros. And Dean was like, "But I can't let you go." And the trickster says, "Too bad. Like I said, I like you. Sam was right. You shouldn't have come alone." And then this is
But
so
he didn't.
cool. It's so cool because plot twist. Dean says, "Well, I agree with you there." And then the door slams, and the trickster looks up the stairs to see Sam's just entered with a large stake of his own. And then boom, Bobby's at the top of the next tile, also with a stake.
Yay.
And it's so cool. It's one of my favorite scenes. It's awesome. And the trickster says, "That fight you guys had outside, that was a trick." And Dean smiles. And he says, "Oh, not bad, but you want to see a real trick?" And then suddenly a masked man with a chainsaw appears right near Sam and attacks. Then
Jump scare.
the Yeah, it is a jump scare, and the brunette that's next to Dean becomes some kind of, like, fembot because she's super strong, and she's just beating the shit out of him, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
"This is what the 3rd time that Dean's been beaten up by a semi-naked woman." I just thought that was funny.
This made me think of your stunt woman thing from a few episodes ago.
100% naked fight scenes, basically. Just like these
Yeah.
women are wearing nothing, and they're having to do fight scenes. That's such bullshit. So he basically pulls out a sandwich and starts snacking. And I'm like, the Trickster and Dean are basically just the same person. Um, and Dean takes another hit,
That's why you
and
like
then
him.
yeah, probably. And then they manage to throw him, and the Trickster is clapping. He says, "Nice toss, ladies, nice show." And then he stands up, Dean, Dean, Dean. And then Sam tosses a steak to Dean, and he says, "I did not want to have to do this." And Dean stabs the Trickster in the chest, and he says, "Me neither." Because Dean was, from his point of view, he thought he was about to kill Dean, but plot twist, Dean kills him. But plot twist, he didn't really. This is why I love these episodes. So then we go into the next scene, and Sam and Bobby walk up, and Dean's like, "Are you guys okay?" And Sam's like, "Yeah, I guess." And Dean says, "Well, I gotta say, he had style." And it's just like, "We know, Dean, you're the same person, okay?" And then they're kind of beat up, and they sort of stagger outside, and Bobby's like, they're having a conversation, and Bobby's like, "Let's get the hell out of Dodge before somebody finds that body." But then they're still just talking. So like Dean's like, "Yeah," but then Sam's like, "Look, Dean, I just want to say that I'm and Dean says,
Apologize to
"Hey,
him.
me too." Yeah, it's like the silent "I'm sorry," and then they look at each other and they nod. And Bobby's like, "You guys are breaking my heart. Can we please just leave?" Because Bobby is not about the life of getting arrested for murder. He's like, "Oh
No.
my God, there's a time and a place, and this is not the time and not the place." And then it cuts back into Crawford Hall in the theater, and a figure from the shadow approaches the Trickster's body and stands by it, and the body shimmers and disappears. And we realize that it was an illusion all along. And then we turn around and we see the Trickster biting into a chocolate bar and smiling. And I was like, "You can't trick the Trickster. You can't outfox the fox."
But it was good because I know he's still alive, so he's gonna come back. And then obviously you've told me he does come back, so
Mhm.
yay.
It's extremely exciting and leads into one of the best episodes of Supernatural and one of the most popular episodes of Supernatural. It's a ways away for you, but
You
like
always
we're
do
gonna get
that.
there. There's
You're
other
always like,
stuff
yeah, you gotta wait
earlier.
years to see that again.
I do not
It's
say
like,
years.
oh, you like they do a Scooby Doo episode, but you've got to wait until 10 years from now. So thanks.
What happens is I get really excited and then I want to tell you about that there's so much good stuff coming up. And then you're like, "What's the timeline?" And then I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's a while away." So
I
now
mean,
I've
it did
started
run a long
automatically
time.
doing it. Yeah, it did run
Yeah.
a long time. It's not my fault that you didn't watch it when it was out, Laura. God.
It's not my fault. I thought, well, I suppose it is.
Yeah, it is your fault.
I still swear that I didn't even know it existed back
Yeah,
then,
you
but
maintain
it,
that, which
it
is
must have.
wild because Jensen even talks about how like they had a huge presence in the UK and the WB was like mass
Yeah, but
marketing and putting like commercials out everywhere.
I swear, if I had seen an advert for it, I would have been like, that is, because it's totally my thing. I would have
Yeah.
watched it. I wonder if it was just on Sky or something, because when I was at uni, I didn't have Sky,
Oh, maybe.
maybe. But then it was CW, and there was like, wasn't like One Tree Hill was on CW, wasn't it? And I used to
Yeah, it
watch
was.
that.
Yeah.
Um,
How did
and
you watch
like,
One Tree Hill, but then you didn't see Supernatural? I don't know. It's just wild to me.
I don't know. I loved One Tree Hill. It's one of my favorite TV shows when I was younger. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know when it was on, but I missed it.
Mm,
But you know,
yeah. Now
now
you
it's
gotta
like I'm
wait.
watching it back then because I have to watch one a
Yeah.
week.
Yeah. It's true. It's true.
So yeah,
Um, shall we play end of episode games?
yes. Um,
Yes.
villain hot or not?
So I wrote hot in a weird Loki way.
I put no because he's too sleazy. He's funny, but he's too. I'm not attracted to him because he's too sleazy.
He is pretty sleazy. It's a very fine line. So
Yeah.
he's in by this much. I consider him attractive by this much, but I also don't know if it's because I've seen so many other episodes with him in. I don't know if like
Mm.
if I would have said that from day one. I'm not sure if I would have from just this episode alone. Um.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know about that.
Episode scare rating.
I gave it a 1.5 because there are only jump scares that I can think of are like there's the part where she's suddenly dead, but I was expecting that. So I
Chainsaw
was
Man.
more yeah, I was more excited, but then Chainsaw Man was a jump scare. So I gave it
Yeah.
1.5.
Oh, I just said 0, it's not scary, but I gave it a 10 out of 10 for comedy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's accurate. That's accurate.
My favourite quote, I've got to choose from 3.
Okay.
What's yours?
You're too precious for this world.
Yeah. That is yours, yeah?
Yeah, that's
You
mine.
haven't got any
I picked
options? Oh,
Well, so
it's
I
only
had
I'm the
multiples that were my
indecisive one.
favorites. So my favorites were "You brave little soldier, you're too precious for this world." Um, and then I think there's something that Dean says. Oh no, wait. Sam says it's not
Yeah.
food anymore, Dean. It's Darwinism. And then oh no, I meant to put this one as my favorite one actually. So there's that scene where, and this was also my thirst. No, that was my thirst trap. It's like right up there with favorite quotes, but also thirst trap. So I'm gonna wait until we get there. Actually,
Okay. Well, I had Sam saying "You brave little soldier," but because you've kind of got the other half of that quote, we'll say that's the same one. So, um, I've got 2 Dean ones. So either "What are you talking about? I'm a joy to be around," or the bit where he's saying about Bobby getting there. So he's like, "Just your typical haunted campus, alien abduction, alligator in a
yeah,
sewer gig."
that was amazing. That one's definitely that's top tier. That's a top
Yeah,
tier quote.
I think I'll go for
So
that one.
what it is my thirst trap is a scene with a quote in it that could be my favorite quote, and that's when like they're having that back and
Yeah.
forth. And Sam says, "How would you feel if I screwed with the Impala?" And Dean looks at him like a serial killer and says, "It would be the last thing you ever did." And you know
Yeah.
that he means it. That's my thirst trap, but also one of my favorite quotes.
I haven't written down a thirst trap, so I don't really know. I'm thinking maybe just I don't know, when they're like arguing, when they're like just before they start wrestling on the bed or something, that bit, um or the bit at the beginning where Sam's trying to research and then he's like, "It's going slow because I haven't got a laptop." Maybe that bit.
Yeah. Sam when he's angry is pretty sexy. Like I think for
Yeah.
me, one of the biggest turn-ons ever is an angry man where he's like clenching his jaw and it's a really sexy jawline. That was where I wrote 5 points to Laura for Sam. Like that's definitely like that's in that arguing scene. That's a thirst trap for sure.
Yeah. Okay. We'll go over that bit.
Mhm.
Um I wrote down Bobby for MVP.
Yeah, I wrote Bobby slash the trickster.
Yeah. Well, I just wrote Bobby because he worked out it was a trickster. Because I mean, if he hadn't
Yeah,
turned up, Sam and Dean would still just be having a fight.
100%. Without Bobby, they are helpless little babies, and it's hilarious.
Yeah.
They needed their dad.
Ah, the dad that they never had.
Yeah, that was
Um,
a poem.
my motel rating was 0 stars. It's a dive.
I wrote yes, 4 stars.
What for the like peeling brown walls?
Okay, so I feel like that was a weird thing that happened as a trend, where there was like it was a trend for it to look distressed. And I think that it was supposed to be distressed because they painted it that bizarre, like red orange color where the kitchenette was. And if you like
Yeah.
subtract the kitchen from the rest of it, it looks really nice. Like those two things do not go together. And I feel like it's sets and props trying to imply the trickster vibe of the episode where it's like things aren't what they seem. It's called like the King Hotel. Half of it is like luxurious looking and half of it looks like shit. Like it just gives me that topsy-turvy jester energy. And the thing that I
Uh,
like about trickster deities is like the idea of the jester, the court jester, somebody who could get away with saying things that no one else could get away to say in the higher ups and call them out and make fun of them. That
Yeah.
is linked to trickster deities. That's who that would have been that guy's god. You know what I'm saying? Days like topsy-turvy days used to be a real thing. So like there used to be days, even in the UK, where up until I think it's the 18th century, maybe a little bit earlier than that, the wealthy used to dress as the poor and the poor would dress as the wealthy and they would swap places for a day. And that was like an actual real thing. So
Yeah.
that is trickster vibes. And I feel like the hotel is trying to reflect that. And I can dig it.
Huh. I didn't even notice the nice side of it. I just
You just
saw
went,
the
"Ugh." You
crap
saw the
side of it.
kitchen and all of Dean's like old takeout that was trying to become alive and aware
Yeah.
of itself. And you were disgusted, which is valid. It's valid. The kitchen was terrifying.
Yeah. So that's I haven't even looked to see what the next episode is, so I don't know. Um,
Um,
I know there's a werewolf one coming up.
Roadkill.
Uh,
I think that's the one after Roadkill, if I'm remembering
oh,
correctly. I don't remember what Roadkill is about. I'm gonna look at the synopsis and see if I can give you any clues. Oh, it has 8.8 out of 10 stars from 7,200 IMDb users. So it looks like it's a really good episode. Oh my god, is that Trisha Helfer? That's Trisha Helfer. Oh, I'm so excited. I love her so much. Okay, it looks like it's a spooky episode. It's
cool.
spooky.
Yeah.
I can tell you that it's giving haunted, and I feel like that's all I can say without giving away too many clues. But
Okay.
it looks like it's another urban legend, kind of like
Well, I like those
spooky.
ones.
There's some of my favorites, like this one. Now that I've read the synopsis, I think I remember it. And this one kind of reminds me of the very first episode. So I really, really enjoyed it. And I think that it's pretty kick-ass because from memory I loved it. All the IMDb ratings are like super high. So I feel like this is
Yeah.
gonna be epic and so much fun.
I like the kind of urban legend ones like Bloody Mary and Hookman. All those, they're
Yes.
good.
They're some of the best ones, honestly. Like they're some of the strongest ones. I love them so much.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I'll look forward to watching that one then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas! Happy holidays!
And we'll see you next week.
Bye! Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode, please rate, review, and subscribe. We would be very grateful. And if you know someone who would enjoy it, please share.
You can find us on Instagram at the Witches of Letters podcast, or you can email us at thewitchesofletters@gmail.com.
Until next time, stay safe out there, have each other's backs, and always keep fighting.